When we talk about the Old West, a lot of people picture the sheriff in a high-noon duel or the train robber riding off with the loot. For decades, the movies locked in that image. But behind the legend, there was something heavier. Fear on the frontier rarely came from the flashy holdup or the quick draw from a holster. It grew in the silence of the roads and in the news that someone disappeared and didn't come back. There was the fanatic who took lives for his beliefs, the ghost who slipped out of any jail and came back to settle scores, the respected man who preached on Sunday and on Monday took money to kill. That mix of twisted faith, cunning, and a social mask fed a kind of dread that was hard to name. That gray area is what we're about to explore. Our mission is to peel back the myth and face figures who weren't just criminals. They were waking nightmares. No body counts or headline fame. What drives this list is the terror they sparked, the chill that locked a finger on the trigger, the worry about sleeping with the window open, the care not to talk too loud in the saloon. Get ready. We're about to present the 7 most feared outlaws of the Old West and show why their trail still haunts history. Before we keep going, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. That way every new episode lands right on time and nothing in this journey slips by. Number 1. Killin' Jim Miller, the undercover assassin. He didn't draw attention, he disappeared in plain sight. On Sundays, a church pew, the rest of the week, sober, neat suit, measured words. Behind the facade, a cold trade, contract killing. He preferred to wait in the dark, shotgun braced, and charged from $150 to $1,700 per job. On his list were lawyers and sheriffs, and there's a cloud of suspicion that he crossed paths with Pat Garrett, the man tied to Billy the Kid. Protection came from 2 sides. From his clothes, a hidden metal plate to stop bullets. From the courts, silence bought by fear. Witnesses got intimidated, juries wavered, prosecutors lost ground. When he was finally arrested for killing a former U.S. Marshal, the town didn't trust the scales of justice. In 1909, locals broke into the jail and decided to settle it right there. Miller didn't flinch. He asked them to give his wedding ring to his wife and before the noose tightened yelled, "Let her rip!" and jumped off the box on his own. Did you like this video? Then drop a like, subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next episode. Comment below on what grabbed your attention most about these Old West gunmen. We read everything and use the best suggestions in upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Number 2. Raphael "Red" Lopez, the forgotten scourge. In 1913, he killed a miner in Utah and while fleeing ambushed 3 officers. He vanished in the maze of the mines, withstood a siege by 200 men, and still took down 2 more. Then silence. No body, no trail, just rumors. Decades passed until in 2003 crossed clues tied Lopez to a bandit active on the Texas-Mexico border. The same man who fought with Pancho Villa, led gangs, and swapped names like changing roads. The chase ended in 1921 in a Texas Rangers ambush, and the myth kept going. Number 3. Clay Allison. If Harden represented methodical hate, Allison was impulse with no brakes. After a head injury in his youth, he started having outbursts that alcohol only made worse. From there, his fame grew with episodes that spooked even Old West veterans. He led lynchings, decapitated a suspect, and displayed the head as a trophy in front of a crowd. In another scene, he strutted through town almost naked, drawing nervous laughs and heavy silence. He also had lines that stuck. After killing a man he just shared a table with, he said, "I didn't want to send a man to hell on an empty stomach." He was brutal, direct, and unpredictable, and that combo turned him into a saloon legend. The end came in the least epic way. In 1887, he fell off a wagon and was crushed under his own wheels, closing a path that mixed fear, shock, and curiosity on every corner of the territory. Number 4. John Wesley Harden. He wasn't feared for what he stole, but for what he carried inside: constant rage. A committed Confederate, he claimed he only killed those who deserved it, a line he repeated with unsettling calm. The blood trail started early. At 15, he killed a formerly enslaved man, claiming self-defense, and shortly after, 3 Union soldiers who tried to arrest him. Word spread and Texas started whispering his name. Over time, Harden turned into legend and statistics. He bragged about 42 kills. Records back at least 21, several of them lawmen. The coldest episode shows the risk around him. He killed a man because he was snoring in the next room. Any little detail could become a trigger. Years on the run didn't last forever. He was caught, served 15 years, and got out trying to rebrand his story. He became a lawyer. But the old persona stayed lurking. In 1895, after threatening a policeman, he went down in a hail of bullets and ended his run. Number 5, Kid Curry, the Wild Bunch's attack dog. For years, Butch Cassidy's crew earned a name as elegant thieves, almost gentlemen. That story collapses when Harvey Logan, Kid Curry, shows up. While Cassidy plans, Curry pulls the trigger without blinking. He's not a myth. He's the hand that squeezes the trigger. The guy who turns robberies into war scenes. Estimates point to at least 9 lawmen killed, maybe 15 victims total. When he drank, his fuse got short. The violence jumped without warning, ambushing sheriffs. For many outlaws, that was a line. For the Wild Bunch with Curry, it was a method. In 1904, after a robbery in Colorado, he went down wounded, surrounded. He refused the cuffs and chose his own ending. That's the part the legend hides. The Wild Bunch wasn't charm. It was calculation and gunpowder. And Curry was the spark. Before we keep going, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. That way every new episode lands right on time and nothing in this journey slips by. Number 6, Billy the Kid, the ghost of the frontier. What made him a nightmare for lawmen wasn't sadism. It was his refusal to be tamed. To those hunting him, he appeared and vanished like he walked through walls. Young, quick, provoking. The born killer label stuck, but it twists the story's origins. Born Henry McCarty, he was a sharp kid with an easy way of speaking. At 14, he lost his mother and lost his footing. His first offenses came from hunger and cold. Cheese, clothes, petty theft. The leap to violence happened in the Lincoln County War. There, Billy found direction in John Tunstall, an English rancher who treated him like a protege. When Tunstall was executed in 1878 by rivals, Billy joined the regulators with a purpose: settle the debt with bullets. The legend caught fire. From there, his escapes became saloon talk. They said that as a teenager, he slipped out through a chimney. The peak came in 1881 at the Lincoln Courthouse. Sentenced to hang and guarded by 2 deputies, he used his own anatomy. Narrow wrists, loose cuffs. He grabbed one deputy's gun and shot him. Then he grabbed a shotgun and ambushed the second. In broad daylight, he walked out and etched his reputation. It wasn't just the revolver that scared people. It was the cold calculation in every move. To stop him, it took someone who knew him. Sheriff Pat Garrett, who tracked him down and killed him in 1881. The fear tied to Billy was born from that contradiction. A boyish face, almost harmless, hiding a professional at escape and war. And every time they underestimated him, he bought himself one more night's head start. Number 7. Jesse James kicked off a new kind of fear after the Civil War. Terror with a face, a name in the papers, and an audience. He wasn't just a robber. He became a warning sign for the government and banks, a shadow of the Confederacy that kept popping up in headlines and on the roads. The legend of the American Robin Hood helped keep him in the popular imagination, but it's just a convenient story. There's no record he shared his loot with the poor. The money stayed with him and his own. This character's origin sits on the edges of the war. Still a teen in Missouri, James joined bushwhackers who carried out ambushes and revenge killings. There, he took part in the Centralia Massacre. Union soldiers, unarmed and pulled off a train, executed in cold blood. That episode, committed when he'd barely left boyhood, showed a willingness for direct, unhesitating violence, a trait that stuck with him later as a famous outlaw. If the toughness came from the battlefield, the fame was born from pen and print. Jesse figured out early the power of a narrative. With the help of editor John Newman Edwards, he polished an image of honorable resistance to the power of the North banks and railroads. He wrote letters to the press, posing as a knight punishing unfair institutions. The effect was immediate: fear in the streets, public curiosity, sympathy in certain corners. The James Younger gang's deeds reinforced that impact. In 1866, they pulled off the first peacetime, broad daylight bank robbery in the United States. A 19-year-old student died in the process. Proof that the violence wasn't just a tactic. It was personal, close, unpredictable. In many towns, even when locals recognized their faces, they chose silence. Speaking up could cost a lot. But every myth hits a wall. In 1876, Northfield, Minnesota became the turning point. Townspeople, many Union veterans, fired back during the robbery. The plan collapsed. Most of the crew was killed or captured. Only Jesse and his brother Frank got away. From then on, the aura of invincibility dimmed. His career slid downhill until 1882, when a recruit from his own gang killed him for a $10,000 reward.